Newcastle United 1, Manchester United 0, meaning Newcastle beat Man United. And let's be honest, a game that they deserve to win. Like Manchester United really offered nothing to the table whatsoever. They gave it a little bit of a go in the second half, but mostly it was one team really in it, and that was Newcastle, and they deservedly get the victory. And for Eddie Howe's men, after the disappointment in midweek, in let's be honest, a game at PSG that they never ever should have lost. There was no way ever that was a penalty. It got given obviously against them. They managed to draw the game 1-1 because of it. Their chance of making it through to the next round of the Champions League is definitely affected due to that. But they still came out in the Premier League here today with, let's be honest, a lot of injuries. Not that it's an excuse because every team suffers injuries. But you get what I mean. A lot of injuries for Newcastle United, but they still put in a real good performance and deservedly get the victory against Manchester United. Going, let's to be honest, keeping their form up because Newcastle United, right, guys, yeah, they had a bit of a tricky start to the season. I remember that they obviously won the first game in dramatic fashion against Aston Villa. But after that, struggled a little bit, to be honest, guys, in the Premier League. But to be honest, in recent weeks, they've done really well. They're fifth now, obviously, leapfrogging Manchester United, which is big for them. They currently sit on 26 points, 2 points off the top four. Obviously, it could be top five, given how the Champions League might work next season with the club coefficients. So for them, they're absolutely delighted, man. Absolutely delighted with how it's gone. And today, they were well worth the victory. Well worth the victory in my eyes, man. I thought they came to play the game. I thought Manchester United were a little bit timid, a little bit feeble in this football match. I mean, it's always a worry when your two best players are your centre-backs, Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw. And that was the case for Manchester United because they were just put under pressure and pressure all game long. And to be fair to them, the centre-backs were holding their own. I thought Maguire was solid today. I thought Luke Shaw was solid today at centre-back. But no one else from the team really was doing anything. Like, whenever Newcastle were looking to go forward, Manchester United were just sitting back. They were just there trying to play counter-attacking football, which, fair enough, man, I get it, because Newcastle's a tough place to go, especially St. James's Park, let's be real about it, guys, one of the toughest places to go in the Premier League. So I understand the thought process, but if you're going to sit back, you've got to at least have some kind of threat on the counter-attack. I mean, Manchester United's problem recently has been defending, not attacking. I mean, they conceded 3 goals against Galatasaray in horrendous fashion. Andre Onana was an absolute stinker in there. So Manchester United's problem has been keeping the ball in the back, keeping the ball out the back of the net more than anything. Today, they looked okay defensively. They did. I mean, they conceded the goal, right? But that was just one of mistakes. You got Aaron Wan-Bissaka sleeping at the back post. But other than that, I'm more looking at why Manchester United didn't attack the game. Seize the day. You know what I mean? Like, attack this game if you're Manchester United. I understand that Newcastle's a tough place to go. Believe me, I understand that. But you're Manchester United. Look at the players you got on the football pitch. You've got Bruno Fernandes, who in my eyes is one of the best attacking players in the Premier League in terms of attacking midfielders. Look at that pass he made in the first half to Garnacho, by the way. Like, barely even sees him. And just out of nowhere, left foot pass, breaks the lines. Garnacho should do better. He needs to take his touch across Kieran Trippier, open up the angle and force Trippier to either bring him down and give away a penalty or back off him and give himself a free shot at goal. So there's little moments there that Manchester United had, but it was few and far between, to be honest, guys. Like, if you look at this game, I don't obviously look at all the stats, the advanced statistics that the Twitter tacticos look at like field tilt and all that stuff. But come on, man, if you just look at the game with your pair of eyes, you will see that Manchester United got dominated by Newcastle today. Absolutely dominated. And that's not what should take place. Not what should take place one bit. Because, look, I understand Manchester United have not been one of the better teams in the Premier League this season. And many will say they've fallen off this season. But let's be honest about it right now, guys, yeah? Heading into the games this weekend, Manchester United were 6 points off league leaders Arsenal. 6 points. In the grand scheme of things, that's absolutely nothing. That's nothing whatsoever. I mean, they sit now with a -1 goal difference. They sit 7th in the Premier League table, 8 wins, 6 losses. It's mediocre. It's mediocre stuff, to be honest with you guys, right? And it's not what Manchester United fans should be going through. I mean, this is a club that, let's be honest right now, is the biggest club in the Premier League. There's no two ways about it. It's Manchester United is the biggest club and Liverpool in a close second. Them two are by far much ahead of every other club in English football. So you can't be going into games with an inferior complex, an inferior mentality. I feel like Erik ten Hag's done a fantastic job at Manchester United up to now. I genuinely believe that. I have a lot of faith in that manager. What he did in his first season to take Manchester United from a team under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that was struggling, like they were in the trenches under Ole. They finished 6th that season and they were bad. Like they were bad that season. They were miles off Arsenal, who finished 5th. Then the season after, Eric Ten Hag comes in, and you're all sitting there thinking, oh, okay, he's got a bit of a free hit. He's come into a mess that he's inherited at Manchester United, and he did really well in his first year, really well. Got them top four and won the trophy in the Carabao Cup as well. Did fantastic. This season, you expected him to build on it. You're expecting him to go, okay, he's finished top four in his first season. He's got a trophy in his first season. Let's build and try and get up towards title challenges. That will be the logical step in a step-by-step process. But what ends up happening is Manchester United have taken 2 steps forward last season and 3 steps back this season. They look worse. Now, Manchester United are only really getting any sort of joy on the counter-attack. And I'm not being funny, right? I appreciate teams playing different manners. Not every team's going to play like Man City and Arsenal, tiki-taka possession style, try and dominate the ball. There's going to be different ways to attack the game. I appreciate that 100%. But if you are the biggest club in England, which is the case for Manchester United, if you have aspirations for being a top Premier League and Champions League side that will dominate most teams you play against, you have to have some kind of possession-oriented style of football. You have to have some kind of style of football that involves you getting on the ball and dictating possession. Whenever I watch Manchester United play, their first thing is, how can we defend? They never first think to attack. They always first think to defend. They always first think to play on the counter-attack. I appreciate you've got Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford and Højlund, who are really good at counter-attacking players that can play off that one-hit punch. You know what I mean? Just like, bang, ball into Bruno Fernandes and then one pass over to Rashford, Højlund, and get goals from that manner. I do appreciate that. But if you really want to excel in this league, and if you really want to build a sustainable brand of football that you can kick on from year after year, you need to have some kind of possession-oriented style about you. You need to attack games from minute one and imprint your style on the opposition. Manchester United, in most games they play, especially away from home, look to defend before they can attack. They look to play on the counter-attack, and it's not really going to fulfill you going forward. You get what I mean? Now, Eric Ten Hag really shouldn't have anything to worry about right now in terms of getting the sack, because I think he's done enough in his first season to warrant himself getting more time. But one thing I will say is, I appreciate Manchester United fans blaming the owners. I would be blaming the owners too. The Glazers need to leave the club. Avram Glazer, Joel Glazer, you name it, man. They need to leave the club. And they've been very vocal about it consistently. And I give them the utmost credit for that, because a lot of other fan bases, my Arsenal fan base, for example, we've not really been vocal about Kroenke leaving since we've been on a title charge. Equally, Liverpool with their old FSG have been a little bit, you know what I mean, here and there. They were vocal in the summer, not really vocal anymore. Whereas Manchester United fans have been consistently vocal about their hatred towards the Glazer family. I appreciate that, and I respect them for that. But one thing I will say is, the Glazers have given you money. It's not like you've been starved of cash. The money's been there. You just have spent it wrong. You're looking at, in the summer, a lot of money to spend. 65 million on Mason Mount. What has he done? I know he's injured right now, but what has he really done so far for Manchester United? The answer is nothing. 70 million on Rasmus Højlund. I think it's a good signing. He's yet to score in the Premier League, but I think he's a good signing. Give him some time to develop. You've got, 20 million on Amrabat or something like that, whether it was a loan deal. Doesn't really see the field. Apparently, they want to get rid of him in January, I've heard. The keeper, Altay, hasn't really had any minutes. Onana's been shaky. Why not give the young Turkish keeper a go? Why not? You bought him in the summer. He can't be any worse than Onana. I don't think Onana was terrible today. Don't make any mistake about it. But after his 2 goals conceded in the week against Galatasaray, surely it's time to move on then. Surely you've got to replace your keeper at that point, man. One mistake is one thing, but 2 mistakes costing your team that win. I mean, you've got to look at it and try and make some changes. Look at some other players they brought in. I mean, I keep going back to it. Anthony from Ajax. I understand that's Eric Ten Hag's boy coming from Ajax, but let's be real right now, man. 100 million for him? 100 million? The guy didn't even start today. There's a £100 million footballer sitting on the bench. And I don't blame him for that, because he's not good enough for Manchester United. So the money's been there. Eric Ten Hag's been supplied with the cash. He can't sit there and cross his arms and go, oh, I haven't been given enough money. Because the money's been given to Eric Ten Hag. He's just not spending it right. Like, you give any other manager the money Eric Ten Hag has had, and they can build a super team. Like Mikel Arteta, my manager, right, had the similar amount of money from Eric Ten Hag, and he signed some quality players. Odegaard, Ben White, you name it. Players like that, man, that build towards the process. Meanwhile, they've spent 100 million on that Anthony. There's a real discrepancy there. But regardless of how much you spent, right, let's look at the performances on the pitch, because whether we like it or not, it's not a January transfer window right now. So you can only judge the Manchester United players you can only judge the Manchester United performances on the players they've currently got. And right now, they're crap. Like, let's be honest about it right now, guys, I appreciate that I'm not a Manchester United fan. As you can probably tell, I'm an Arsenal fan. But I know that Manchester United are the biggest club in England, the biggest. And by the way, I'm going to get onto Newcastle in just a second, so stay tuned. I'll get onto Newcastle United in just a second, guys. But yeah, I appreciate Manchester United are the biggest club in England right now. In my opinion, the third biggest club in the world behind Real Madrid and Barcelona. So you should not be going into games like this, yeah, and being underdogs. I went into this game watching Manchester United knowing that Newcastle were favourites and thinking, yeah, Newcastle are going to win this game. That shouldn't be the case. I'm sorry, that should not be the case. Like, Newcastle won this game today, right? And they won 1-0. Fine. But look at the manner in which they lost that game, Manchester United. Like, they got torn apart. Newcastle dominated Manchester United. This wasn't just both teams going at it tit for tat. It was, let's be honest, Manchester United getting taken to the cleaners. The scoreline does not reflect how this game went. Manchester United they were living off scraps, the strikers, living off absolute scraps, man. Whereas you had Newcastle, who had plenty of chances. I mean, like I said at the start of the stream, it's a worry when Manchester United's two best players were their two centre-backs. I mean, when that alarm bell should be ringing when you hear that. When you hear that Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire are your two best performers, you should be sitting there going, hang on a minute. If our centre-backs are our two best players, then we've been under the cosh the whole game. That should not be the case, to be honest with you guys. But look, that's how it's gone, man, for Manchester United. They've got a lot to fix up. The good thing for them is they're not drawing games. So they're still in a decent position. Obviously, it's not, you don't want to be in seventh place in the table. Make no mistake about it. No one wants to be seventh in the table. But they're only 2 points off top four. And that's it. 4 points off top four. Obviously, those teams are playing tomorrow. But it can all change. It can all change, man. The Premier League is a very mercurial league. It changes very quickly, guys. And this is the thing now. And I made this point when I reviewed the Arsenal versus Wolves game earlier today. Now, for the first time this season, we've got Premier League games in midweek. It's the Amazon Prime slate of fixtures. Meaning, we've got a game today/tomorrow, a game on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and a game next week. So in 7 days, you'll be playing 3 Premier League matches. 9 points are up for grab in 7 days. That is where you really differentiate the contenders with the pretenders. Because this is where you really see who's about their business now. Because in a week, 3 games are played, you could swing. Like, over 3 games, trust me, guys, 9 points is a big swing. There can be teams that are doing really well flying that by the end of this week will drop like a stone. Equally, there could be teams that are doing really bad right now, but after these 3 games could absolutely fly up the table. So that's a really interesting fact about this slate of fixtures now, because, guys, take nothing away from it, man. It's going to be a real big set of fixtures now. We'll be reviewing plenty of games, so make sure you are subscribed. If you are new around here, hit the bell notification button. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat as well. I'd love to hear it. We'll be reviewing Premier League fixtures tomorrow and throughout midweek and next week as well, as we've got the full slate of Premier League fixtures coming during the Amazon Prime week. I love to see it, as always. But let's get on to Newcastle United, and as always, leave your thoughts in the live chat. Newcastle were fantastic today. Fantastic. And this is the thing about Newcastle United, right? When I go to watch Newcastle United play, I know what to expect from them at home. And that's a really good sign. I was talking about how Manchester United, when I watch them play, I don't really know what to expect. Some games, they fly out the traps, like Everton away. What a performance. I was expecting them to get battered, given Everton were going to be on full form, galvanised from their 10-point deduction. But they went into that game and silenced the crowd. Garnacho scored a beauty. They go in midweek against Galatasaray and actually put in a really good performance. But the goalkeeper were really good. They come in again today and they look flat. So Manchester United like play flip-flop. You don't know what to expect. Newcastle, on the other hand, I know what to expect from them. Energy, legs. That's exactly, and it's a beautiful combination, man. Newcastle United, because they play such a fantastic system with Eddie Howe, it doesn't really matter who plays. They get the same result. They had a lot of injuries in Newcastle. And look, I'd love to say I feel sorry for them, but I don't, because every team suffers from injuries. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, Newcastle had a lot of injuries recently, because every team has. It is what it is. But one thing Newcastle excel in is they make sure that their team is not based around individuals. It's based around a system. If there's no Isak, there's the Callum Wilson. If there's no Dan Burn, there's the Livramento. If there's no Willock, there's the Lewis Miley in there. You get what I mean? So it works no matter who's in there. So you have players like Lewis Miley, who's gone to the Parc des Princes in midweek against PSG and come again today to play Manchester United. 17 years old, living the dream. And he's put in another really good performance against today. Anthony Gordon coming from Everton. I thought he struggled in January when he first got signed. Really did. But this season, he's really taken a step forward. So big up him. Isak, I don't think he played fantastic today. In fact, I thought he was a little bit sloppy going forward. But you know he's going to be an absolute handful for the defenders. Equally, Miggy Almiron, what a player. Bruno Guimaraes, one of my favourite players in the Premier League, being fantastic. Newcastle done really well to keep afloat with all their injuries and the Sandro Tonali, obviously his suspension as well. So I give them the utmost credit, genuinely the utmost credit. They came today and they imprinted themselves in the football match. If I looked at it holistically, there was only one team that wanted to win this game, and that was Newcastle United. Every second ball was theirs. Every first ball was theirs. Every shot was theirs, basically. They were the ones wanting to get something from this football match, and they were the ones that came with a tenacious, combative attitude, and they deserved the victory. And Newcastle done really well, man. Really well. Look, 1-0 victory against Arsenal. Obviously, there was a bit of a contentious VAR decision in there. Should it have been a goal? Should it have not been a goal? Doesn't matter now. It's happened. It's in the past. They beat Arsenal 1-0. Only team to beat Arsenal this season. Beat Manchester United 1-0. Manchester United were in the best run of away form in their life right now. Sorry, over the past few seasons right now. They were doing really well. United were flying in the Premier League recently. So they've done really well there as well to beat Manchester United. They were, let's be honest, 10 minutes away from beating Liverpool. Apart from Nunes' absolute masterclass, they did really well against Man City. Unfortunately, lost that game 1-0. They absolutely demolished Aston Villa 5-1, 6-1 at the start of the season. So Newcastle done really well in performances this year. Like I said, they struggled a little bit at the start. They did. But overall, they kept the ship afloat. And look, who knows with them what happens in the Champions League? They could qualify. They could drop to the Europa League. Who knows is the answer. But the main thing is, right, they're keeping their performances up. And that's the main thing. Because when the performances goes, the results go as well. But if the performances are there, then you shouldn't worry. Even if you're not getting results, if the performances are solid, that's the main thing. I feel like that's the case for Newcastle United. They've kept their performances afloat. So you have to give them the utmost credit for that. Jordy, appreciate you joining the stream, my friend. I know you're absolutely delighted with what's happened in this game. However, the lads up the Toon Army onto the next one. Indeed, man, fantastic result for Newcastle United and the performance to match it. I thought they were absolutely well-deserved of the victory from minute 1 to minute 90. They were well worth their 3 points. Superb. One thing is, though, another couple of injuries, man. Nick Pope in goal. Looks like he could have dislocated his shoulder. Now, they've got Dubravka in goal. Obviously, he's not let's be real, he's not the bee's knees. He's not exactly going to be one of the best keepers around, but they're going to have to survive with him, with Dubravka in there. I'm not sure how long Nick Pope will be out. For Newcastle, and his sake, he's hoping not a long time. If you look at Newcastle's fixtures right now, yeah, guys, they've got Everton away, tough game. I don't care what anyone says, Everton's a tough game. They then go to play Tottenham away from home. That's a tough game as well under Ange Postecoglou. Then they've got Milan in the Champions League. You know, that's a 6-pointer for them. They have to win that. Then they've got Fulham, and then they've got Chelsea in the EFL Cup, and then Luton going up to Christmas time. So their next few weeks of fixtures, some tough games in there. Everton, Tottenham, Milan, Chelsea in the EFL Cup. Like, these are some big games for Newcastle United, and they can't really afford to have Nick Pope out long term for them. So for his sake, for Newcastle's sake, they better hope that he comes back soon, man. They better hope, because they could not survive with Dubravka for an extended period. But it's just one of those things, man. It's a freak accident. Like, goalkeepers dive, like 10 times a game? Maybe? 8-10 times a game? How often do they get injured when they dive? Rarely ever. Like, as you say, it was unfortunate. Bad dive. Exactly. It was just a bad dive. It was unfortunate. He threw everything at it. And to be honest, the ball was probably going in from Sergio Reguilon if he didn't throw himself at it. Obviously, got a massive block on the way from the Newcastle player. So, yeah, look, it's just one of those things. It's unfortunate. You just got to hope that it's not a long-term injury. And if he's back within a couple of weeks, you can survive. Because, look, like I say, reserve players are reserve players for a reason. They're not starters for a reason. You can survive 2, 3, maybe 4 games with a reserve player. When it becomes 6 weeks, 9, 10 games in a row, that's when you see problems. Last year, my club Arsenal in a title race, right? Saliba goes down injured in March. 2 games, we look good. Holdings in the team, we win 4-1 both games. The 3rd game, shaky. 4th game, shaky. 5, 6, 7, 8 games, we've lost the title because we've got Rob Holding in centre back instead of William Saliba. I know obviously that's not the be all and end all. It's not the overall reason. But do you get what I mean? Reserve players are reserve players for a reason. Your starters are your starters for a reason. You can survive chopping and changing the team for one-off games. But if you want extended performances, you need your starting 11. Because there's a reason that people in the starting 11 are your best players, because they're the most consistent. Anyone on their day can look like prime Messi and prime R9. Trust me, I've seen days where I've seen Yaya Sanogo look like Cristiano Ronaldo. But the reason he's not ever going to be compared to Cristiano Ronaldo is because Yaya Sanogo, for one good performance, would have 7 crap performances. Do you get what I mean? Same with Rob Holding. For 1 or 2 games, looks good. But when you compare him to William Saliba over a season, he's nowhere near. It's night and day. So Newcastle United will have Dubravka in goal. And for 1 or 2 games, he might survive. He survived for the last 20, 30 minutes today. But you want him for 3, 4 weeks, then you've got problems. Because Pope is a massive part of Newcastle's performances. A massive part. He's a superb player in there, man. Equally, I thought I'd say the same about Sandro Tonali leaving, obviously for his suspension. But they've been fantastic without him. Even without Sandro Tonali, they're surviving. Joe Linton's been in there. They've missed Joe Willock's presence a little bit. I think they've missed his box-to-box threat. But Miley's done fantastic, obviously. He's done really, really well. And also, I want to give a shout-out to Kobbie Mainoo as well for Manchester United, because I think he's done really well as well. For a really struggling Manchester United team, I think Kobbie Mainoo, coming in at 18 years old, has done absolutely superb. I've watched him in all 3 games he's played so far. The Everton game away, I watched, he was fantastic. Treated the atmosphere like he was playing in the park with his mates. I thought Godside came on for the last 15, 20 minutes and was superb as well. And again today against Newcastle United, I thought he had a decent performance in there. I don't think he was superb. I don't think he was as good as the Everton game, but I thought he really stood up and was counted, man. So United have a real player in there. And I like to see young players do well, because here's the thing, right, about young players. Obviously, you don't have the experience that the older players have, but you have to make up for it in energy and enthusiasm. And I feel like both Lewis Miley and Kobbie Mainoo have not put a foot wrong since they've come into the sides, respectively. Not put a foot wrong, man. And if they do get dropped when players get their play, when both teams get their starting 11s back, they can't blame themselves for that. That's just one of those things. When Joe Willock and Sandro Tonali come back in the long-term future, for at least for Tonali, if Miley gets dropped, that's not fault of his whatsoever. That's no fault of his own. That's just one of those things where Eddie Howe decides that it's time to bring Willock back into the team, because Miley's been fantastic, just like Kobbie Mainoo. Them two should be starting both games for their respective clubs until they can't. Basically, that's my thought process on it. I thought they've been absolutely superb, both of them, brilliant individually as well. But yeah, let me look at the match stats for this game as well, because I do think that obviously I've said Newcastle dominated. I like to think the stats would reflect that, but you never know in football, anything can happen. Let's share my screen so you guys can see what I'm on about. So hopefully it should be shared right now. Yep, you guys should be able to see my screen. So we can see the stats right here, guys, on the screen. Yeah, we've got Newcastle United winning 1-0, of course. Anthony Gordon getting the goal. Big up him for that. Look at the stats right now, guys. Yeah, 22 shots from Newcastle, 8 for Manchester United, 4 on target, 1 for Manchester United. In a 99-minute football match, basically a 100-minute football match Manchester United played, yeah, these man had 1 shot on target. And I believe it was a Garnacho shot when Bruno Fernandes put him through. That's poor, man. That is poor. In 99 minutes of football, basically 100 minutes of football, you've had 1 shot on target all game. Your fans have trekked to Newcastle. Obviously, it's not far from Manchester United fans because they're up north anyway. But you get what I mean? Like, you've gone in the freezing cold up to Newcastle, man. Like I'm talking Newcastle's as north as you can get. It's basically Scotland. And you're watching your team have 1 shot on target all game. Are you serious right now? Like 41% of the ball. When do you watch a Manchester United team that gets dominated like this? Like, basically, it's every week nowadays. But Sir Alex Ferguson would be absolutely tearing his hair out if he watched this, man. Like, I hate to bring up the past because I am someone that obviously believes that you should be focused on the future more than anything. But let's be real right now, yeah? There's Manchester United legends around. Like, even in the studio for TNT Sports, you've got Rio Ferdinand, Scholes, Roy Keane, man, Gary Neville, even to an extent. Would these players watch stuff like this? Let's be real right now. Like, would they want to see their team perform like this? Because this is poor, man. Like, this is actually embarrassing to an extent for Manchester United. Embarrassing. Like, it's one thing losing matches. I watched my team, Arsenal, right? We lost to Newcastle United away from home. But I didn't really slander the team because we actually weren't bad that day. We just lost to, let's be honest, a contentious VAR decision. I'm not going to complain because it's happened now. It's in the past. I'm not going to complain about it. But you get what I mean? So I didn't slander my team. But if Arsenal lost 1-0 like Manchester United lost today, in the manner in which Man United played, I'd be slandering my team, slandering them. So it's only right I slander Manchester United because I'm not a Manchester United fan. So obviously I don't know what they feel like. But if I put myself in the shoes of a Mark Goldbridge or someone like that, do you get what I mean? I'd be livid. I'd be livid watching my team play like this. Because Manchester United, if anything, they've got the quality to win these games. Like, Manchester United had that dodgy, fluky team. Do you get what I mean? Like, against Everton last week, everyone expected Everton to win that game. I did, definitely. I thought, you know what? Everton, they're going to be galvanised. It's going to be an absolute cauldron at Goodison Park after their 10-point deduction. They're going to be all over Manchester United like a rash. And the Man United fans are going to start quivering. The Man United players are going to start quivering. And they're going to roll up in a shell and get beaten. But they didn't. They were the opposite. They defended well. They attacked well. And they were ruthless. They won the game 3-0. And to be honest, despite probably it wasn't deserved to win 3-0, it probably was like a 1-0, 2-0 game. Everton had plenty of chances. They were ruthless in attack, United, and defended like dogs. So you're thinking, wow, that really surprised me. That was a brilliant performance. Like, United are capable of these performances. They're capable of pulling these crazy, like, unexpected performances out of the bag, out of nowhere. But today, like, you just sit there and from minute one, you knew what was up, man. From minute one, You only had to watch the first 5 minutes to understand how this game was going, to understand how Newcastle were the only team really interested in getting the 3 points here today. Like, let's be genuinely honest right now, guys. Yeah, genuinely honest. Were Manchester United going into this game wanting to win it from minute one? No. I'll tell you the Eric Ten Hag game plan, everyone. Here was the Eric Ten Hag game plan in the dressing room before the match. Okay, guys, we're going to play Newcastle United. Tough game, obviously. They just played PSG midweek and got a 1-1 draw. So obviously they're going to be a little bit tired. We're a little bit tired as well. But let's go into this game, right? And let's first thing, quieten the crowd. How are we going to quieten the crowd? We're not going to attack them because that's not the right thing to do because they might pick us up on the counter-attack. Let's try and defend really well. And when we get a possession, just hold on to the ball, not really do anything with it. Okay, boss, what else? Yeah, just hold on to the ball. And if we get a chance, play Fernandes, and then he could potentially play Rashford or Garnacho down the wings. That's our game plan. Defend, then give the ball to Fernandes, and then play Garnacho or Rashford in behind. Let's go out there. How are you going into a game as Manchester United and your only game plan is to play on the counter-attack? Like, make it make sense a little bit, man. Like, I wouldn't have minded if Manchester United lost this game 2-0, right? And actually went for Newcastle from minute one. Like, went for them from minute one. At least you can commend them. That's why I've commended Tottenham this season. You've rarely seen me slander Tottenham Hotspur this season, despite the fact I'm an Arsenal fan. Like, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I've not slandered Tottenham once this season, really, because I appreciate that every game they go for it from minute one. They go for it. So how can I disrespect the team like that? I cannot disrespect the team. That game plan is to go for the opposition. Yes, you can say they're a little bit naive, a little bit innocent, like Tottenham have been recently with their high line, etc., and not really controlling the football match. But I commend them 100% because from minute one, they go for the game and they imprint their style on the football match. Whereas when I watch Manchester United play, from minute one, it's defend. It's defend, and try and nick something on the counter-attack. And that's not a sustainable brand of football. I've said it so many times. So yeah, I will slander Manchester United as long as they keep playing this negative football because that's not how they should be playing. The fans don't want it. I'll tell you one thing for a fact, the players don't want it as well. Look at how many problems Manchester United have had. Casemiro's had problems with Eric Ten Hag. Varane's had problems with Eric Ten Hag. That's why they're not playing. Trust me, guys, I'm being honest about it, man. Rashford's had problems with Eric Ten Hag over the years. Ronaldo had problems with Eric Ten Hag. So something's not going right with Manchester United. The manager is falling out with a lot of players, man. RD12, appreciate you joining the stream. My friend, I'm doing really, really well. I can't figure out what was worse, Ten Hag's fashion or Manchester United performance. Hard to pick and choose. I actually didn't mind Eric Ten Hag's dress sense with the Peaky Blinders cap. I didn't mind it, to be fair, man. But yeah, I think he needs to focus on getting results rather than dressing up like Shelby, to be honest, man. But it's one of those things. How is Maguire still starting over Varane? I'll be honest with you, RD12, yeah? I think Maguire didn't play bad today, to be fair. Look, I'm not a Maguire fan. I'm not one bit, to be honest with you guys. I think he's a terrible appointment. That's another version of money wasted. I appreciate that wasn't Eric Ten Hag signing, but that's another example of Manchester United wasting money they've been given by the Glazers. But yeah, I think Varane's not starting because he spoke against the manager. There's been a falling out there. There must be. And look, I appreciate that you've got to do that as a manager. If a player disrespects you and it's not the transfer window yet, you got to just tell them as soon as you can or don't play them. And he's doing that. He's playing Maguire over him. And look, Maguire's not put a foot wrong. Like I said, Maguire and Luke Shaw was Manchester United's two best players today. And Kobe Manu to an extent as well. They were Manchester United's two best players. So I don't think you can blame Maguire for this result one bit, to be honest with you guys. I think it was more a case of the other players not really doing anything. So yeah, I appreciate your point. But look, if he's disrespecting the manager, he's disrespecting the manager. It's one of those things. What happened with Ballon d'Or contender Marcus Rashford? Better than Martinelli, they said. Yeah, I mean, look, Rashford's fallen off this season big time. There's no two ways about it. He's completely fallen off this season. He's obviously not playing at left wing, which is what he wants. Here's the problem, right? Garnacho wants to play left wing. Marcus Rashford wants to play left wing. Marcus Rashford's got better ability at right wing than Garnacho has. Therefore, he's playing right wing. I'll be real with you right now. If Manchester United had to drop Garnacho or Rashford, they're dropping Rashford. You can't drop Garnacho right now. He's on fire compared to Rashford. So, and the thing is, Anthony ain't good enough to start matches. So right now, Manchester United have got a striker in Højlund that hasn't scored in the Premier League once, so they're playing Martial instead. They've got a left wing in Garnacho. They've got a cam in Bruno Fernandes, a right winger that doesn't want to play at right wing in Rashford, and another right winger that, to be honest, doesn't really want to play football in Anthony, and another right winger that's playing FIFA all day in Jadon Sancho. So the right wing position's got a lot of problems right there. They've got two midfielders, one Kobe Manu, who actually looks like the real deal and should be playing pretty much every game for Manchester United, from this day onwards until he proves otherwise. And we've got Scott McTominay, who, to be honest, despite wanting to go in summer, despite Eric Ten Hag wanting to ship out, him and Maguire in summer have been one of Manchester United's better performers this season. So them two are starting. Amrabat can't seem to get on the pitch, and Casemiro ain't getting on the pitch. Then at right back, you got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, was sleeping for that goal today. I don't think Wan-Bissaka is a bad player, but let's be honest right now. Wan-Bissaka cannot attack. He can't attack, and his defense is overrated. One-on-one defending, he's good. Make no mistake about it. He's very good. But team defending the weak side, he's terrible, man. Like, he falls asleep. Like, he's snoring at the back post for Anthony Gordon goal, man. Like, if you're Aaron Wan-Bissaka, right, you follow that run and they don't score and you maybe walk out of St. James's Park with an undeserved point. And you're sitting there thinking, job done. You got a 0-0 draw, we take it. But you got to look at it sometimes and think, Wan-Bissaka's poor defensively. I think Dalot's a much better player than him. The centre-backs, like I said, Maguire, not a fan, but him and Scott McTominay have been really good this season despite needing to go in summer. So he's been quality. Luke Shaw, quality today despite playing out of position. And left back Dalot, I think he's really good. And then the keeper, Andre Onana, I mean, look, he didn't make any mistakes today, but the less said about him, the better, to be honest. I would seriously be considering starting Altay, the Turkish goalkeeper, man. Not just because I'm Turkish myself, but you get what I mean? Like, Onana's made so many mistakes, man. So many. Man United standards on the floor at the moment. 6 points behind Arsenal. Keyword right there. Behind. I mean, they're more than 6 points behind now, to be honest with you guys. But you know what I mean? Look, despite Manchester having a really bad season, it's not over. We're still less than halfway through the season. Less than halfway. Let me look at Manchester United's fixtures, by the way, actually. That'll be a really good thing to do. Let me see who Manchester United play, because it's going to be a big run against Manchester United. So let's look at their fixtures. Manchester United obviously just played Newcastle. Then in midweek, go to play Chelsea. Wow, what a game. Wednesday, 6th of December on Amazon Prime. Manchester United played Chelsea. Big game for them. Then Manchester United play Bournemouth at home. Should be 3 points. Let's be real about it right now. Bournemouth struggle. Then you got Bayern Munich in a massive 6-point clash in the Champions League. Then Liverpool away. Let's be real, you're losing at Anfield. I'm sorry, there's no way Manchester United beat Liverpool at Anfield. Then West Ham away. Tough game. West Ham's a tough game to go to. Villa's a tough game right now with Unai Emery. Forest away is a tough game. Then you got Tottenham. Then you got Wolves away. So United got some tough fixtures. Bar Bournemouth, every other game's tough. I think West Ham's a tough game away. I think Liverpool's a tough game. I think Aston Villa's a tough game. I think Forest is a tough game, but you should beat them. I think Tottenham at home you should beat. So let's be real, some tough games Manchester United right now. They got to roll their sleeves up and get back to business, because they can't be slacking anymore, man. They can't be. How can United fans survive with a midfielder that completes 13 passes every 90 minutes and they're supposed to be going for the league? Are you talking about Bruno Fernandes or one of the other midfielders? I'll be real about Manchester United right now, yeah. Their game plan is purely just counter-attack, man. Purely counter-attack. So I appreciate what they're doing. Like, it's not the way I'd like to see. It's not the way I like to see my team play football. As well as not the way I think Manchester United should be playing football. But that's the way it is, man. They're playing on the counter-attack. They're just hoping and praying that they get something from it. That is what they're doing, basically, guys. Hoping and praying they get something off the counter-attack. Is it working? A little bit. Like games, like Everton game, it worked well. The Galatasaray game, it works well. Today, not really, let's be honest. Newcastle did really well defensively and attacking-wise. And this is the thing. When you play on a counter-attack and you lose, you look bad, because you don't even look like you're trying to win the game. Do you get what I mean? Like, at least if you try to play football and lose the game, you can go, we gave it a real go and we end up on the wrong side of the result. When you play counter-attacking football and you lose the game, like it's basically like you played to draw and you still lost it. Do you get what I mean? Like that's when it's a really bad look, and that was the case for Manchester United today. But look, like I said, big games to come. It's a massive few games now. You got Chelsea and Bournemouth to round off the week. Like I said before, guys, 3 Premier League games in a row now. 3 Premier League games for every team in 1 week. So 9 points for each team is going to be decided in 1 week of football. There's going to be a massive swing in the Premier League. I promise you guys, from the start of this weekend to the end of Monday next week, there's going to be a big shift in the Premier League. I'll tell you guys for an absolute fact. The table will look completely different. So I think, guys, there's a big lot to do, a lot to happen. I can't wait to get into it. I'm going to start talking about what games I'm going to start reviewing going forward. Obviously, we've got a lot of Premier League fixtures to go. Tomorrow, I'll be streaming after Man City versus Tottenham in Super Sunday. Cannot wait for that game. Then on Tuesday, I'll be streaming after Luton Town versus Arsenal in the Premier League. Then on Wednesday, I'll be streaming after. I've got a choice. Manchester United, Chelsea, or Aston Villa, Man City. I'm not sure. I'll probably be watching both. And then on Thursday, I'll be streaming after Tottenham versus West Ham. And then on the weekend, we've got Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. Will be streamed at 12:30. And then we got Aston Villa versus Arsenal will be streamed at 5:30. And then at 4:30 p.m., Tottenham versus Newcastle will be streamed as well. That is a run of fixtures to be streamed this coming weekend. Make sure you do not miss it. Subscribe if you're on around here. Drop a like down below. Hit the bell notification button so you never miss any future streams on the channel. Otherwise, I appreciate everyone for tuning into the stream today. And I hope to catch you all in my next one. Take care.